Hey y'all, we're talking about seeking God, and I wonder how many of us struggle with seeking God. I wonder how many of us, if we're honest, we basically say that it's a challenge, that we may do it as almost like a little punch list or check mark, spent time in God's word, spent time in prayer. But for some of us, if we're really brutally honest, there can be a challenge, because I know there is for me. There are some days that it flows natural, and other days it's work. But here's what David does. He approaches this as, if we're struggling with that, we need to go back to the basics for many of us. In Psalm 70, verse 4, God's word says this: "But may all who seek you rejoice and be glad in you. May those who love your salvation always say, let God be exalted." And I want to encourage you today that maybe the root of you and I seeking God is for us to go back to the very basics of our relationship with Him. To basically say, God, you know what? I celebrate the greatest thing there is, salvation. We're in a time right now where so many people are excited about there's a $1 billion lottery. I mean, I hear everybody talking about it, and it's kind of crazy, but I wonder how many of us, if we were to celebrate and we had the one thing that's most precious to us, what would that be? Would it be for you to basically win $1 billion? Would it be for you to, would you say your family? Would it be your spouse, your children? Or would it be your salvation? And that's a big question. But in all honesty, if we don't prize and treasure the salvation that God's given us, we're missing out on everything. We're missing out on eternity. And God calls us to get back to the very basics, that the greatest thing you and I can ever have is a relationship with Him and salvation offered to us through Him. That's greater than anything else this world will ever offer. I want to encourage you today to get back to the basics and celebrate the salvation God has given you, and basically say, as David said, let God be exalted. Hope you guys have an amazing day. Let's live reckless for the one who loves us most, Jesus. Bye, y'all.